Welcome to Meet Me at the Wall. A podcast exploring author Anne Goodwin's time-traveling journey after discovering hundreds of letters written to her grandmother over a century ago. We visit the space where fact meets fiction, truth fosters imagination, and delve into the past while keeping an eye on how lessons from history affect us today and even tomorrow. Good morning, Betsy.
Good morning.
Hey, Anne.
Good morning, Doug.
We're back after this little pause here. It has been so long, and I'm glad we're back in the studio again for season 2.
It feels great.
Yes.
I hope you agree.
I think season 2 has just left me speechless.
It has. Well, and, there's a little consternation going on here and there about what exactly season 2 is going to be. We gave you a little preview on our last sign-off, but I think at the end of the day, we're here and it's going to happen.
And it's back to the mission. We're going to have some fun.
We're going to have fun. Exactly.
Awesome.
So getting started, let's dive into what we're going to do today.
Well, I think we have something fun in store for us to start off with. When we produce our podcast, we're just basically putting it out there, and we don't really receive any feedback. Well, we have received feedback, and it has been such a joy to hear from this fan that we thought it would be a good idea to start season 2, acknowledging and thanking him and having a little chat.
And I have never spoken to Billy. His name is Billy. Secret's out now. And so I've really been looking forward to this. And in fact, it's a perfect test because we're going to be interviewing people, many of the episodes this season. And this is a perfect practice to make sure I've got everything technologically right.
All right, should we give him a holler?
Let's give him a ring. Betsy, do you know Billy?
I sure do.
You do? Oh, that's cool. I'm the only one then who has not met Billy or doesn't know Billy. Let's hope he answers.
Yeah.
Hello, it's Billy.
Hey, Billy, it's Anne and Betsy and Doug.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, Billy. Well, thanks for being our guest here today. We are so happy to have you with us by phone. You are our very first call-out guest.
Well, that's quite an honor. Thank you so much.
And really, Billy, we're calling to thank you. I have to say that as we were releasing the episodes, and I would receive a text from you with such great input and insight and enthusiasm that it just kept us, or for me personally, just spurred on to keep going. So this is a thank you call to you. And then we're just curious about if there's anything from season 1 that you want to talk about a little bit or wrap up a little bit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the podcast so much. It came along at a perfect time for me. I was kind of in need of a distraction. And, like I told you, hearing your voice and Betsy's voice, which are familiar to me, it just brought a sense of comfort to me. And the subject matter was also nostalgic. And I think as I get older, you kind of wax more nostalgic. And so it just came along at the perfect time. It gave me something to kind of look forward to.
Oh, I love it. Billy, this is Doug, obviously.
Yeah.
The voice you've heard but don't really know. I'm just curious,
No.
do you have any letters in your past like this that are something you've saved from your parents or grandparents or you've been given?
I think I may have a few letters from my grandmother, a couple from some friends, but nothing to the extent of, what Anne has uncovered. That's pretty amazing, the amount of letters and information that they have available to them.
No treasure trove like Anne came across. Yeah.
No.
I'm kind of the same way.
Close.
There are few, but it's really special to have this kind of a collection and to learn about history and whatever through it.
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of history that came about through the podcast. I knew, some family history of Anne's, but there was so much that kind of became much clearer to me through the podcast. And that was really enjoyable.
What are you hoping for season 2?
Probably more the same. Like Doug, I'm really fond of the sketches. I think that you did such an incredible job that most of it seemed like it was all fact. And I think you even captured the style and language of the 20s, you know, when you would be talking in your grandmother's voice. And yeah, so I think just a more continuation of that group of friends and how they navigate after the market crash and the Depression and then heading into World War II. I think that's going to be interesting to see how they all navigate that.
Well, awesome. We'll try to fulfill that, that mission.
Well, and we really did leave with quite a cliffhanger, right? I mean, the Depression.
That's a big cliff.
Absolutely.
That's a big cliff. Exactly.
I thought it was so amazing that they were out shopping at Macy's and, you know, and people are flying out of windows at the same time.
Right. Well, you know, my father, who's 91, and I think of, you know, he grew up just after the Depression, and the perspective is very different. And depending on when you grow up and what your early years were like, can really help shape a person.
Right. Absolutely.
So, Anne, I heard something here that is interesting because Billy said, I love the sketches and I want to hear more sketches. And I've also heard from some fans that they also love the original letters. And I know when we left off season 1, the thought was, we'll just read letters because they're so good. But how has that evolved here?
Well, that has evolved with some little nuggets that inspired me to write some more sketches. And so I'm just open to finding those. And I think that what's going to happen for this season is we're going to have a blend of sketches and letters and journal entries and potpourri of information sharing as we move to the 30s and 40s.
Sounds great.
Okay, Billy, well, we're going to get to work then.
Hey, thank you, Billy. It was really nice hearing your voice. And I wanted to say that you and I sort of share the same enjoyment of this experience, and that it came along for me at a time when, during COVID, when I really needed a diversion, and it provided a whole new world of adventure for me. So it's nice to hear you say kind of the same thing.
Yeah, and I would say that I think the blend will be great because one of my favorite parts of the first season was in episode 10, you reading your grandmother's letters. And the one about visiting the DuPont family was just incredible. I couldn't believe the detail of what she recalled. So I think that will work greatly.
All right. Well, I have to keep digging in those piles and keep finding her little tidbits, and hope we'll have more to share.
That sounds great. I can't wait.
All right. Take care, Billy.
All right. You guys take care. Thanks
Thanks,
so
Billy.
much.
Really nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
All right. You too, Doug. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was fun. It worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Congratulations, Mr. Technical Wizard.
Anyway, and I really thank Billy. That was lovely to hear. And you're right. You know, when you're doing a podcast, and this is a podcast, is very specific kind of content, and it's fun to find people who really can identify with it. And it's not going to be everybody, but I think there's a lot of people out there who really do like this nostalgia and learning about the past in different ways, not just from textbooks.
Well, let's make this an opportunity. If anybody would like to join us in a future podcast, just give us an email off of my website, pleasurablepausepress.com, and we'll see if we can make that happen.
Sounds good.
It's fun to connect.
And particularly if you have your own example of letters that you've collected and something like that has happened with. I can see that being a fun thing to hear about others who are listening who have their own little story with letters.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be cool. So we've talked a little bit here about how our plans might be evolving a bit on how we're going to run this season, and I think it's time to get that going. We are going to start here, and you were inspired. Tell us the story about how these sketches actually came to you, because you were not going to write sketches. I think Betsy said something like, well, the girls will guide us somehow, who knows? Let's keep open-minded, I think were your words, or something like that.
Exactly.
And then what happened?
That is what happened. You know, I thought about why it was that I was dancing around the 30s and 40s and not feeling that I was going to be inspired by any nuggets. It's because of the word depression and the words World War II and then the unfortunate death of my grandparents' son, that nothing about it sounded like the roar of the 20s that we enjoyed so much. Then I dug a little deeper and realized that the girl's spirit remained whole even through these really difficult times. And their communication reflects that. And this is what we've come up with. The Sky's the Limit, Titusville, Pennsylvania, October 1931. Florence, darling, I've just received a note from Hugh Herndon. You know, the chap from Titusville who was a bit ahead of me at Princeton, Carter's nephew. You mean Hugh Herndon of the infamous Pangborn and Herndon? The whole town is abuzz about their crossing the Pacific nonstop on their world tour. Did you know that they left their shoes behind so the plane would carry less weight? And at 14,000 feet, they had to go out and remove ice from the wing barefoot? They also had to wing walk again right before their landing. They dropped their landing gear for weight, and then they had a piece of it remaining, so they removed that and did a crash landing on the belly of the plane, whose name of all things is Miss Vidal. Absolute craziness. What did he want? Well, he and Pangborn are barnstorming around the country in Miss Vidal, and they are planning a stop in Titusville. He asked if I would like to take a spin in the sky with them. You're invited as well. Ben looked at Florence with eager eyes, anticipating and hoping for a positive response. Florence looked back at him, lips pursed in a downward frown. That's the plane they crashed. Who's to say the landing gear will work? And Pangborn is known as upside-down Pangborn. Who on earth would want to do that? Fly upside down? I've never heard of such a thing. Well, I, for one, do, and hope that you will join me. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We'll bring Nancy and Dick along so they can see this remarkable machine and what it can do and the men who dare to fly it. It's the future coming to Titusville, and I plan to be a part of it. 2 days later, the Colonel Drake airfield was lined with rows of cars as all of Titusville came out to laud their local hero. The community band played. The mayor waited upon a makeshift stage to greet the daring aviators with as much pomp and circumstance as the town elders could muster. After hours of relating tales of their heroic global endeavors and much adoration and fanfare from his hometown, Hugh left the stage to greet his well-wishers. He spied Ben and Florence with Dick and Nancy in tow, standing off to the sidelines. "Hey, Benny, old chap, great to see you. Are you going to take me up on my offer? We probably have an hour left of goodbyes, and then we could take a spin before we take off." He tipped his hat to Florence and said, "I hope you'll join us." He then looked down at little Dickie, who stood mouth agape, wide-eyed and overcome by the presence of the tall man dressed head to toe in his aviator suit. "And you, young man, I bet someday you'll grow up and fly planes. What do you say?" Postscript, June 1944. Florence sits down at her mahogany writing desk, removes the cap from her fountain pen, and starts to write hastily. "Benj, dear, I have no time to write of chit-chat. Please be a lamb and do something about Dick's flying obsession. I rue the day we took him out to the airfield that first time. He is dead set on getting his pilot's license and dared to go solo yesterday. He reported to me that he gets airsick doing tailspins, for goodness sakes, and is having trouble with his landings. He doesn't even have his driver's license yet. I will not have my son dropping out of the sky. You must do something and write back post-haste. Hugs and kisses, Fleur."
Interesting. Thank you for writing that. I think that in this season, I want to keep the fact or historical fiction going, even with you just doing one sketch a week, perhaps. And I don't want to make that a quota, but whatever you do, I'm going to want to know, is this fact or historical fiction? It's time for fact or historical fiction. Or historical fiction. Or historical fiction. And my question for this week is, did Flo and Ben actually go up in the plane? Is this like a real thing that happened?
This is a true fact.
Wow.
Her first flight was with stunt flyers, and a whole world opened up to us as we started researching that little tidbit.
Your first flight was stunt flyers. Love it.
I came across this little nugget from my grandmother in her grandmother's journal. The question that the journal asked was, when did you first fly? And there was just one...
Like in an airplane.
In an airplane.
Yeah, okay.
When did you do your first airplane trip? Mm-hmm. And her answer surprised me because she basically described that her first airplane trip was with a couple of stunt flyers in Titusville, Pennsylvania, Herndon and Pangborn.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
And it was fun. So we can presume Dickie went up with that too.
Dickie did not go up with them for that flight.
Okay.
No, I know so.
Okay.
No, that was just Florence and Ben up there in the hijinks realm of stunt flying. So then there's some source material for that.
Okay, yep.
So I think that we're going to start with you.
Oh, that's right.
Doug.
I'm going to do a reading. This is something new for me. We have a letter from Dick to his dad. And this is in August of 1944?
Correct.
Okay. August of 1944. Dear Dad, I hope all the packages arrived safely. I'm glad the tennis racket got through. The parcel post wouldn't accept it because it wasn't wrapped well enough. The express people didn't like to accept it because it wasn't protected by boards. I hope you do all right in the tennis tournament. BG will be in Boston from August 16th to August 21st. I don't know what hotel he's staying at, but I think it would be the best, such as the Copley Plaza or the Statler. You might try to get a hold of him because he would be pleased, I'm sure. He thinks a great deal of you. You might take him to dinner or a show. Please try to do this. I was so pleased when I soloed. I'm not doing as well as I was in my landings, so I will take some more dual and get them down better. Today I practiced tailspins. They're really hard on you if you're not used to them. I felt rather sick when I got down. After the spins, I came down and made a very bad landing and bounced badly. I guess it was just because I wasn't feeling well. Don't take it from this letter that I don't like to fly anymore because I just happened to have a bad day. And don't worry about it being safe because it is perfectly safe. Even though you make a bad landing, that doesn't mean you wreck the plane and kill yourself. It is just like scraping the tires on the curb when you park a car. I passed my driver's test with ease. The driver's test in Penn is much easier than the one in Texas. Skip got a C card for his car to go flying on, but now both Skip and Tom are broke, and so today I hitchhiked over and back alone. My golf game is just fair. I haven't broken 40 since I've been here. I played golf with Tom today, and I had a 42. I'm glad you're coming up to Boston. Love, Dick. P.S. Don't forget about BG, and if you do see him, tell him I won't be able to meet him in New York, and I'm very sorry.
So can you just imagine?
Oh, my goodness.
Can you just imagine your son writing you that, boy, don't worry about me. I'm just getting airsick and, bouncing crash landings. But other than that, we're all good.
That is really funny. And so I can totally see where your sketch came from.
Yes. And that got me reflecting. I remember in this process, I was reflecting about the fact that this generation, my grandparents' generation, they started with horse and buggy, they went to automobile, and then airplanes within a few short decades.
Right, it wasn't long.
And what did that look like for my grandmother in aviation? Because what I knew about my grandmother in aviation is that she insisted on drinking alcohol when she flew. Mm-hmm. So I'll share with you, I have a blog on my website, and I address this aviation tendency for my grandmother. Mm-hmm. And it sort of talks about this whole concept of their history with flight and why they might be upset with this letter from Dick. Mm-hmm. So I begin in the blog talking about our office that we've talked about, our 1920s office in 311. And I wrote, just as I think the embers are smoldering on the letters project, a little puff comes along to reignite my time-traveling journey. And I believe it's my grandmother Fleur's hands that command the bellows. I choose to bathe, and I like to think while soaking in the tub. Yesterday I was pondering a life lesson I learned from Fleur. Always drink when one flies. I wondered how that hard, fast rule came about and turned to what the letters shared. She was a child of the aviation era. There was a time pre-flight and post-flight. Her first flight while in her 30s was with a pair of stunt pilots barnstorming across the country who briefly landed in her hometown, Titusville, Pennsylvania. Spectator turned passenger, they just whisked her up in the air and did who knows what in the stunt department. Her dear friend Walter Critchlow, early aviator adventurer, crashed his airplane made of paper and balsa wood and permanently injured his 2 legs and 1 arm. Her son Dick started flying lessons before he was eligible for a driver's license and would report things like, "I'm a little rough with landings. It seems fear and flying might have gone hand in hand with Fleur." All this pondering is relevant to what just occurred in 311. I reached out to a 93-year-old man who I discovered was a childhood friend of my mother's brother, Dick. Dick died tragically in his sleep in his dorm room at Cornell University, autopsies never determined cause, at the tender age of 19. I hold the entirety of Dick's life in my hands, starting with letters to his parents as a young boy from camp, to his pilot's log record, his scholastic awards, up to his last letter written just days before his untimely death, proclaiming to be alive and kicking. I wrote to his childhood friend Tom, who I discovered was in the middle of organizing a pickleball tournament at 93. His reply to me was the puff to the embers. He mentioned a memoir writing class where he chose to describe taking flying lessons as a teenager with Dick. And then the flame came to life as I hovered over Dick's pile of letters to randomly pull out one dated August 1944. Sitting in my reading corner, I realized magic just happened again. This one letter that called me out of all others in the pile is the one where Dick described his first solo flight, his tail-spinning practices, his difficult landings, and that he had just finished playing golf with his friend Tom. Can't wait to continue down the rabbit hole when Tom and I chat next week. Cheers, Fleur. My next beverage while flying, aviation gin.
I love it. So the flight that Fleur and Ben did with the Barnstormers was in approximately when?
1931.
That was 1931. And this letter was from 1944 because Dickie had grown up, and this was him just starting to learn to fly.
Yes. So what I did is I went to 1931 for the Barnstormers and then did a postscript fast forwarding to 1944.
44, which is great. And we just read the source that you just described in your blog. And this is all tying together beautifully.
Yes, as things seem to do with the letters.
They do. And Betsy, this barnstorming, Herndon and Pangborn, and do we know much more about them that you want to add to?
Sure. It was an interesting partnership. Hugh Herndon was from Titusville, and his mother's family was in the oil business. And when he partnered with Pangborn, Pangborn was the real aviator.
Okay.
And Herndon was more of an adventurer. And it was Herndon's mother, Alice Carter Herndon, who was an heiress to Tidewater Associated Oil Company, who financed their adventures.
Got it.
And they attempted at one time to break the around-the-world speed record.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, because of a number of issues during those flights, they didn't make it. And I mean,
they made it. Is this the one that Anne kind of described in her
That was the
sketch?
ending to it.
Well, kind of, It was the ending to it.
The ending to it, yeah.
They started out trying to break the speed record and weren't able to do that. So they ultimately landed in Japan.
Oh.
And were able to take advantage of an opportunity to be the fastest trans-Pacific flight.
Okay, so they kind of converted from around the world to trans-Pacific.
They did. But
okay,
interestingly,
cool. Yeah, that's smart.
When they landed in Japan, they were arrested.
Oh, no.
Yes.
They were arrested for what?
They were arrested because while in flight, they were taking photographs. I mean, they were interested in the landscape below.
They were spies.
So, yes,
Okay.
they were charged as being spies. And this is interesting to me. They were imprisoned at the Tokyo Imperial Hotel.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like Moscow, A Gentleman in Moscow.
It does sound like
right?
that, which is a great book, by the way. Yeah. Okay, so is this what really messed up their speed? Or had they already given up on the world?
They'd already given up.
Speed?
They were in, I think they were in.
This would have really broken it.
Then they just tried to figure out how to get out of Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my goodness. Do you know how long they were held there?
I do. Let's see.
It's like a couple months.
It was like 8 weeks.
Oh, my goodness. And their plane was just probably held in some hangar somewhere. And
yeah, so they had to modify their plane in order to make it across the Pacific. They added fuel tanks.
Mm-hmm. Took off their shoes. Dropped the gear.
Designed the plane so that the landing gear would drop.
Right.
They did this intentionally.
And they did this while on the road in Japan after they're let out of their
Yes.
hotel prison. Right. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
And wing walked a couple times, at least.
They had to wing walk one time in particular because when they dropped the landing gear, part of the mechanics remained. So he had to...
It didn't work.
Pangborn had to go out and remove it.
And they came at that last minute on the belly of the plane. You just see this moment of these two adventurers getting to that land and coming in low and just making the trip in an
just made it
unbelievable fashion.
So did they set a new record for the Trans-Pacific?
They did.
They did. Okay, so at least they got a record.
They did. But back to what you were saying about their landing, they were unable to land like at 3 or 4, a few of their original destination points. And so they ultimately landed in this small community in Washington State. And there's a museum there now.
And we could go see Miss Vidal.
We can.
Oh, the plane is there?
Miss Vidal still exists.
But
She's refurbed.
So it was after that flight, though, that they did the barnstorming.
Yes.
With that same plane. They rebuilt it or whatever. Okay. Fun.
I think there was a new Miss Vidal.
Oh, was there? Okay.
And Miss Vidal was named for a motor oil from the Tidewater Associated Oil Company.
Okay. Interesting. It was early advertising on airplanes.
Yes, promotional flying.
Promotional flying.
Yes, the story of the barnstormers going across the country and what they would do is fascinating. It's just so crazy cool that we can get one line out of a journal that says, I flew with some stunt flyers for my first flight. And we have this whole world unfold in front of us of what this actually meant. And it was so, for me, exciting to find out that Herndon was from Titusville.
Exactly. Yeah. And Titusville kind of has a connection with the development of aviation because of the oil industry that was there. But the other piece of this is barnstorming. So what they did in Europe and Asia was big-time aviation adventure. Barnstorming developed after World War I when there was an abundance of biplanes left over from the war and a number of trained pilots who couldn't find work as a pilot, but they took up barnstorming, which became this really interesting form of entertainment, particularly in the Midwest because of the flat landing surfaces. And then the name barnstorming came because they would do their shows out of barns. Farmers' barns.
And what could go wrong?
But this was in 1931, so you said World War I.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, perfect. I totally get it.
And the other funny thing for me was discovering that sometimes multiple planes would travel together, and that was called a flying circus.
Oh,
I never knew
Monty
where
Python
that,
Flying Circus.
Great.
I had no idea that was like a thing.
Exactly. So that was fun.
Oh, boy. The things I learned from you two.
So we like the 1930s so far.
We do like the 1930s so far, even though we are into the Depression here. But
who would know?
Who would know, yeah. What else, Anne?
Well, this doesn't have anything to do with aviation, but it does have something to do with Betsy's travels recently.
Oh.
And this is just going to spring forward to who knows what episode, when, and next. But Betsy, you were in a cemetery.
That's right. I just took a trip to Savannah, Georgia. What a lovely place. I want to go back again. I will go back again. Anyway, my daughter and I went on a little birthday celebration trip for her and visited one of the famous cemeteries there and found a very large area of the cemetery with a very large headstone with the name McClaws on it.
Oh, my goodness. Really?
I know, General McClaws.
McClaws. And just be clear, a little fact correction from first season is it's not Miss McClaw, it's Miss McClaws, right?
Right, we have to keep that S.
Just keep that S on the end. But so did you figure out if this is a relation?
Not yet, but I'm going to.
Oh, well, I mean, there's who knows, but that's kind of fun.
Well, I think we kind of do know because I think that a daughter of a general could easily be a headmaster or chaperone at a women's college.
Yeah.
So we have that to look forward to when Betsy starts digging.
These little connections, whether it's relative or not, isn't it interesting how when your mind is on certain things, you just start to see them everywhere?
Absolutely.
I think if you're looking at buying a car, you see all the cars in the road that are the same color and same make as you're looking at.
You're in a cemetery, you see the McClaws.
Exactly.
Then you go to Ancestry.com and you
and then you check it out. Yeah, I love it.
So stay tuned. Well, what fun we've had today.
I think it was a really fun episode.
I want to thank Billy
definitely
for joining us.
Absolutely. I think that as we build more of a base of people who like to listen, we will, like you suggested, particularly if you have another story you want to share about letters of your own, that would be really fun.
PleasurablePausPress.com, and you can contact us.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks, Betsy.
It's been fun. The band is back together again.
The band is back. And it's cookie time.
Yay!
Yeah.
I won't tempt the listeners with what we make. Well, okay. Cowboy cookies. First time recipe. Meet Me at the Wall is hosted by Doug Martinet, Ann Goodwin, and Betsy Schmeeken. Music is written and performed by Alex Vance. This podcast is copyright by Pleasurable Pause Press. Thank you for listening, and we hope you tune in again next time.